Falcons fans, stop what you're doing right now. The NFC South is about to be shaken to its core. A power shift is brewing, and it could either launch Atlanta straight into Super Bowl contention or leave a division rival gasping for air. This isn't just another offseason update. This is the kind of move that defines seasons, careers, and legacies. Buckle up, because what I'm about to tell you might change how you see the Falcons' future forever. The Atlanta Falcons are standing at a crossroads, and every fan can feel it. With the regular season just days away and final roster cuts looming, the pressure inside training camp is unlike anything we've seen in years. Every decision, every practice rep, every signing matters because this team isn't just building to compete. They're building to win it all. And if you've been watching closely, you know the Falcons have been pouring everything into fixing one of their biggest weaknesses, the secondary. For too long, opposing quarterbacks have picked apart this defense. But this year feels different. This year, the Falcons are not settling for good enough. That's why one of the most heated storylines in camp has been the battle at cornerback. Atlanta already made waves by signing former first-round pick C.J. Henderson. He's talented, no doubt, but inconsistent. Still, he brings fresh energy and experience to a unit desperate for stability. But the real drama? The whispers that veteran corner Rasul Douglas could be the next piece of this puzzle. Think about what this means. A player with 19 interceptions, 3 pick sixes, and nearly 80 passes defended over his career. That's the kind of resume that can flip games and turn weaknesses into strengths. Now, it's true, last season wasn't Douglas's best. He gave up a career-high completion rate of nearly 73% and a passer rating of 122 when targeted. For a veteran, those numbers sting. But here's the catch. Was that the sign of decline? Or the setup for a comeback year in Atlanta? If Douglas joins this Falcons roster, the entire NFC South better watch out. Because a cornerback group led by A.J. Terrell, C.J. Henderson, and Rasul Douglas could turn this defense into something we haven't seen in years, a true force. Falcons fans, I want to hear from you. Should the team take a chance on Rasul Douglas, or is this a risk not worth taking? Drop your thoughts in the comments and tell me how confident you are in this Falcons secondary heading into the season. The Falcons know exactly what they're doing here. If they pull the trigger on Rasul Douglas, they aren't just bringing in another body for depth. They're chasing the version of Douglas who was a game changer in 2022 and 2023. Back then, he wasn't just a solid cornerback. He was a difference maker. A ball hawk who could flip a game with one play. A veteran who didn't need a Pro Bowl nod for people to recognize his impact. Green Bay fans will tell you when Douglas was on, wide receivers disappeared. And that's the kind of presence Atlanta's secondary desperately needs. Because let's be honest, this defense has been fighting uphill for years. They've been beaten through the air, giving up big plays, and letting quarterbacks have their way. That's why Douglas could be the exact spark that flips the script. Here's where it gets even more interesting. Douglas already has ties inside Atlanta's building. Last season, he played in Green Bay under assistant head coach Jerry Gray and secondary coach Justin Hood. Both are now wearing Falcons gear. That kind of familiarity matters. It means Douglas would be walking into a system he already knows, with coaches he already trusts. That could give Atlanta a serious edge in signing him. Of course, there's one big elephant in the room: cap space. The Falcons aren't sitting on piles of cash. With just over $5 million left, they're near the bottom of the league. But here's the silver lining. Douglas isn't going to cost superstar money. He's the type of veteran who could fit within that budget, bring leadership, and still upgrade the secondary without breaking the bank. Smart money, smart move. And let's be real, Atlanta needs it. Last season, the Falcons gave up 34 passing touchdowns while only managing 31 sacks. That's one of the ugliest ratios in the NFL. It means quarterbacks had way too much time, and the secondary paid the price. The result? Atlanta's pass defense ranked near the bottom in completion percentage and passer rating allowed. If you want to compete in January, that cannot continue. But here's the catch. Signing Douglas isn't just about adding a piece. It also means tough choices are coming. To bring him in, someone else has to go. Whether that's a younger corner fighting for a roster spot or a surprise veteran cut, the Falcons' front office will be forced into a painful decision. This is what roster building in the NFL looks like. Money, talent, and chemistry all pulling against each other. One move can change the direction of an entire season. Falcons fans, what would you do? Should Atlanta spend precious cap space on Rasul Douglas, even if it means cutting another player? Or is this risk too big for a team trying to climb back to the top? Drop your take in the comments. I want to know where your confidence level is in this defense. Right now, the Falcons' secondary feels like a puzzle with one clear piece in place. A.J. Terrell. He's the only cornerback locked into a guaranteed starting spot. Beyond him, nothing is certain. The rest of the group is wide open, a battlefield of competition. And that's where Rasul Douglas could completely change the game. If Douglas steps into this locker room, he's not just another veteran body. He's a proven playmaker with years of experience, and that instantly raises the standard for everyone else. Young corners fighting for snaps suddenly have to elevate their game. Depth players on the bubble will be forced to sharpen their skills. His presence alone could create the kind of competitive fire that coaches dream of. But this is bigger than one roster spot. Signing Douglas would send a message to the entire NFC South. It would show that Atlanta isn't here to rebuild slowly, they're here to compete now. It would tell teams like Tampa Bay, New Orleans, and Carolina that the Falcons are serious about tightening their defense and ready to punch back against division rivals who've been circling for years. And let's not underestimate how much familiarity with the coaching staff matters. Douglas already worked under Jerry Gray and Justin Hood in Green Bay. That means he could walk into Flowery Branch and hit the ground running, skipping the learning curve most new players face. That's a huge advantage when time is short and every rep matters. This move, if it happens, wouldn't just be about depth. It's about leadership, toughness, and building a secondary that can finally match up with the league's top quarterbacks. Because the truth is, Atlanta has the talent, they have the coaching staff, and now they might be one veteran away from truly making a statement. And fans, here's where the drama heats up. The next few days are critical. With final roster cuts looming, the Falcons' front office is weighing tough choices. Do they make room for Douglas and risk cutting a younger player? Do they trust the guys they already have? These decisions will set the tone for the entire season. What's clear is this: Arthur Smith and his staff aren't playing games. They're weighing every angle, every dollar, every roster spot to build a defense that can finally carry its weight. The Falcons aren't just aiming for better than last year. They're aiming to be feared. Falcons fans, I need your voice here. Do you think adding Rasul Douglas would instantly raise the level of this defense? Or should Atlanta keep rolling with their young corners? Drop your opinion in the comments and let's see where the fan base really stands. This is the part of the offseason that fans live for: the chaos, the suspense, and the chance to see whether one bold move could completely reshape a season. Right now, the Falcons' front office is under the spotlight. Every rumor, every phone call, every negotiation could decide whether this team just competes, or whether it takes the leap to contend. The question hangs heavy: will Atlanta land Rasul Douglas? Or will they surprise us with another trade, another signing, another curveball to strengthen this roster? Nobody knows for sure, but what's undeniable is the buzz around this team. The energy in Atlanta right now is electric. Falcons fans can feel that something big is coming. And when you zoom out and look at the division, the urgency becomes crystal clear. The NFC South is unpredictable. The Saints want redemption, Tampa Bay refuses to fade, and Carolina is rebuilding with young firepower. But quietly, Atlanta has been crafting a roster that looks more dangerous by the day. They've got a young quarterback in Desmond Ridder, desperate to prove himself and silence critics. They've got an offensive line that's been growing stronger each year. And on defense? That's where the missing piece might be. Adding a veteran like Rasul Douglas could take a shaky secondary and turn it into a weapon, giving Atlanta the edge in games that will come down to just a few plays. Because here's the truth. This isn't just about building for the future anymore. This season feels like a turning point. The Falcons know the opportunity in front of them. With smart decisions and the right veterans added in key spots, they could turn into a team nobody wants to see in January. Imagine a defense that finally closes games. Imagine a secondary that doesn't just survive, but dominates. That's the dream, and Douglas could be a step toward it. Right now, the fans are fired up, the players are motivated, and the coaching staff is grinding behind the scenes to put the pieces together. These next roster decisions? They're the final strokes on a canvas that could define this entire season. So, Falcons fans, stay locked in. Watch closely. If Atlanta pulls off the signing of Rasul Douglas, or any other sneaky move, the ripple effect across the NFC South will be massive. This is about resilience, determination, and smart football. And it feels like Atlanta is finally ready to rise. Now it's your turn, Falcons fans. Do you believe this roster is finally built to shock the NFL this year? And would Douglas be the missing piece to make that happen? Drop your take in the comments. I want to hear how confident you are about Atlanta's season right now.